Hello everyone. Today we shall be taking up The Portrait of a Lady by Khushwant Singh. This is from your class 11 NCERT book Hornbill. The Portrait of a Lady is autobiographical in nature because it describes the author's association with his grandmother, and the chapter talks of the changes that come about in their relationship. We can say that this is a tribute from a grandson to his grandmother, in which he talks of the emotional bond that he shared with his grandmother. Let's talk of the writer Khushwant Singh. He was a famous Indian writer of English children. He was an Indian author, lawyer, diplomat, journalist, and even a politician. One of his famous books I can think of is History of the Sikhs, and A Train to Pakistan is one of his famous novels. He died in 2014. Well, let's take up the reading and explanation of the chapter. The author starts the chapter by saying, "My grandmother, like everybody's grandmother, was an old woman." So the first statement, he's making a declaration here that yes, grandparents are old. Yes, she had been old and wrinkled for the 20 years that I had known her. So for the past 20 years that he has been watching his grandmother, she has stayed like that for the past 20 years. Okay, old and wrinkled. People said that she had once been young and pretty and had even had a husband, but that was hard to believe. So the author says that for me it was very difficult to believe when people told me that my grandmother was very young at one point of time and even pretty and had even had a husband. So it was quite difficult for me to believe because I have been seeing her just like this, old and wrinkled, for the past 20 years. My grandfather's portrait hung above the mantelpiece. The image of a mantelpiece is right over there on your right hand side. He did not look the sort of person who would have a wife or children. Why? Because his long white beard covered the best part of his chest, and he looked, because of that beard of his, long white beard, he looked at least 100 years old. The as for my grandmother being young and pretty, the thought itself was quite revolting. Now, what does this mean that it was revolting? So it was, again, he's saying that this particular thought that my grandmother was young and pretty, it was quite disgusting. It was something which I did not want to could not believe, basically. Okay, she often told us. Now, this word OFTEN can be pronounced as often and often both. Okay, both are British pronunciations and both are accepted. She often told us of the games she used to play as a child that seemed quite absurd and undignified on her part, and we treated it like the fables of the prophets. Fables are basically those old stories which carry morals. Okay, so now stories that she narrated to them, the personal anecdotes that she narrated to them were similar to those stories. So they found it quite absurd and undignified on her part. She had always been short and fat and slightly bent. So, this is the physical description of the grandmother. Her face was a crisscross of wrinkles running from everywhere to everywhere. So, we were certain she had always been as we had known her. Old, so terribly old that she could not have grown older, and had stayed at the same age for 20 years. She could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful. Now, students, you might find this quite contradictory, that what does this mean that she could never have been pretty, but she was always beautiful? So let us read further to understand this. She hobbled about the house in spotless white, with one hand resting on her waist to balance her stoop and the other telling the beads of her rosary. Now you can imagine that she is a short, fat, slightly, lady. She's old, her face is all wrinkled, and she hobbled in the house in her spotless white sari. Okay. Now, her silver locks were scattered untidily over her pale, puckered face. Puckered is wrinkled. and her lips constantly moved in inaudible prayer. Inaudible, something which you cannot hear. Yes, she was beautiful. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains, an expanse of pure white serenity, breathing peace and contentment. Now, please understand this lady, okay, this grandmother is old. She is extremely religious. When she is walking around in the house, okay, when the author says she hobbled about the house, okay, what does it mean? That, when she's holding that rosary, she's telling the beads of her rosary from with one hand, and the other hand is being used. She keeps it on her waist in order to balance, okay, so that she doesn't fall. Now this simile, okay, please see this. There is a simile here. She was like the winter landscape in the mountains. Now, when you visit the mountains during winters, what do you observe? We observe snow-clad mountains from one end to the other. Similarly, when one saw the grandmother, she looked like an expanse of pure white serenity. As I just said, that she was a religious, spiritual lady who was always clad in a white sari. Now, her soul is pure, okay? Because her soul is pure, the author says that she was an epitome of peace and contentment. And please understand, this reference of winter landscape signifies that age-wise, grandmother was in the winter of her life. Okay. And when he says that she was beautiful, but she could not have been pretty, but yes, she was beautiful. So here perhaps the author is talking of the inner beauty of the soul. Okay. Her soul was pure. Her soul was beautiful. Okay. Now we are going to take up the first phase of author's relationship with his grandmother. So in the whole story, you can see there are three phases, okay? Three phases of author's relationship with his grandmother. The first phase that they spend in the village is the most beautiful phase, in which, they are very close to each other, and there is a lovely bonding between the two of them. Okay, now let us read. My grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready for school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing-song while she bathed and dressed me, in the hope that I would listen and get to know it by heart. I listened because I loved her voice but never bothered to learn it. Then she would fetch my wooden slate, which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a tiny earthen ink pot, and a red pen, tie them all in a bundle, and hand it to me. I don't know whether the children who are listening to this lesson have ever even seen all these things, okay? So you go and ask your parents or grandparents about all these things, they will tell you. After a breakfast of a thick, stale chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. Now, stale chapatis, again, people still eat it uh, as their breakfast, if and sometimes people even make poha for with those stale chapatis. So, anyways, so grandmother was a pure soul. Whatever chapatis were left, she used to even take for the village dogs. Now, she used to even accompany the author to school because the school was attached to the temple. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer, while the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. This time, the village dogs would meet us at the temple door, and they followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis that we threw to them. So now you can imagine, right from the time when the author wakes up, okay, um, grandmother is with him till he goes back home after his school. Okay, so there was a close bonding indeed. Now we shall read about a turning point in their relationship, and this happens when they shift to the city to be with author's parents. Okay, when my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us, and this was indeed a turning point in their relationship, children, in their friendship. Though they shared the same room, okay, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. There were no dogs in the streets, and she took to feeding the sparrows in the courtyard of our city house. So, this was a major change for the grandmother also. As the years rolled by, we saw less of each other. Now you can relate with this because when you are in junior school, you still have time to sit with your parents, grandparents, and as you grow older, you go to higher classes, you go to college, you go to university, you have a lot of work to do, assignments, project, this, that. So you become busy and then you see each other quite less. Okay, so they also saw less of each other. So I'm sure all the students listening to this can relate to this, okay? And nothing wrong in it, right? For some time, she continued to wake me up and get me ready for school. Now, this really reminds me of my grandfather, actually. He used to wake us up for our exams, and I still remember the way he used to wake us up. My parents never had that kind of patience. Grandparents have that immense patience, okay? When I came back, she would ask what the teacher had taught me. I would tell her English words and little things of Western science and learning, the law of gravity, Archimedes' principle, the world being round, etc., etc. Now, this made her unhappy because she could not help me with my lessons. She did not believe in the things that they taught me at the English school and was extremely distressed that they were not teaching me about God and the scriptures. And one day, when I announced that we were being given music lessons, she was very disturbed. Why? Because to her, music had lewd associations. What do we mean by lewd? Something which is offensive, something which is crude. And it was the monopoly of harlots and beggars. Harlots refers to prostitutes' children and not meant for gentlefolk. So this was her way of thinking that if you are learning music or if you are learning dance, it is the monopoly of harlots and beggars, and it is not meant for the consumption of gentlefolk. Okay. So after that, she said nothing, but her silence meant disapproval, and she rarely talked to me after that. Okay. Now, we shall talk of the third phase of their relationship, wherein Khushwant Singh goes abroad for further studies. Okay, so in a way, the common link of their friendship is also snapped. Children, let us see. When I went up to university, I was given a room of my own, and the common link of friendship was also snapped. My grandmother accepted her seclusion with resignation. What does this mean? She accepted, that she calmly basically submitted to her loneliness. She did not complain or object to anything. She accepted it, and she was resigned to the fact that she was, she no more had any kind of role in her grandson's life. So she's a very dignified lady, very graceful woman who accepted it very gracefully. She rarely left her spinning wheel to talk to anyone. From sunrise to sunset, she sat by her wheel spinning and reciting prayers. Only in the afternoon, she relaxed for a while to feed the sparrows. While she sat in the veranda breaking the bread into little bits, hundreds of little birds collected round her, creating a veritable bedlam of chirpings. Okay, it means a real confusing noise which was caused by the sparrows due to their chirpings. Some came and perched on her legs, others on her shoulders. Some even sat on her head. She smiled, but she never shooed them away, and it used to be the happiest half hour of the day for her. When I decided to go abroad for further studies, I was sure my grandmother would be upset. I would be away for 5 years, and at her age, no one could tell. At her age, no one could tell me that I am going away for 5 years. I do not know when I come back after 5 years whether my grandmother would be there or not. Okay, would be alive or not. But my grandmother could. She was not even sentimental. She came to leave me at the railway station but did not talk or show any emotion. Her lips moved in prayer, her mind was lost in prayer, her fingers were busy telling the beads of her rosary. Silently, she kissed my forehead, and when I left, I cherished the moist imprint as perhaps the last sign of physical contact between us. So this author feels that this is perhaps the last contact between us, because he feels that when I will come back, how do I know whether I'll see my grandmother or not? But that was not so, children. Okay, so after 5 years, when he came back home and he was met by his grandmother at the station, he realized that she did not look even a day older. She still had no time for words, and while she clasped me, she held me in her arms. I could hear her reciting her prayers. So she is a religious lady, okay? We can say from all these things that, not even once she stops reciting her prayers. Even on the first day of my arrival, her happiest moments were with her sparrows, whom she fed longer, and with frivolous rebukes. Frivolous is something which is not serious, so light rebukes. In the evening, a change came over her. She did not pray. Now, this was something which is which is unusual. This is not like grandmother. Not praying is, is something which is not what grandmother will do. So that day, that is why he says that in the evening, a change came over her because she did not pray. And let us see what she did instead. She collected the women of the neighborhood, got an old drum, and started to sing. For several hours, she thumbed the sagging skins of the dilapidated drum and sang of the homecoming of warriors. Okay, so this here the author says that this sagging is loose. Okay, loose skin of an old drum. Dilapidated means something which is in a state of ruin, and sang of the homecoming of warriors. Now, why the homecoming of warriors? Why is she singing of homecoming of warriors? There could be two reasons behind this. Okay, now, remember, her grandson has come home after 5 years, and since she never approved of him receiving English education, his return was like a homecoming of a warrior for her. There can be one more reason, children. She has perhaps anticipated her imminent death, and that is why she sang the song of the homecoming of warriors with an idea that she will attain nirvana and return to the land of God. Okay, so these are the two interpretations for her singing the songs of the homecoming of warriors. Now, this was quite strenuous for her, and so the next morning she was taken ill. She got a mild fever. The doctor told her to rest, but my grandmother, she thought differently. She told us that her end was near. Now, people like grandmother who are extremely spiritual in nature, religious, they have some, at that age especially, they have some intuitive powers. So perhaps the grandmother has understood that her end is near, and she does not want to waste a single minute in talking to the family members. She feels one day she has already wasted. She did not think of God. She did not remember Him. So now she should not waste even a single minute, and she should pray. So she lay peacefully in bed praying and telling her beads. Even before we could suspect, her lips stopped moving and the rosary fell from her lifeless fingers. A peaceful pallor spread on her face, and we knew that she was dead. Okay, so grandmother is no more, children. We lifted her off the bed and, as it is customary, laid her on the ground, covered her with a red shroud, and after a few years of mourning, we left her alone to make arrangements for her funeral. In the evening, we went to her room with a crude stretcher to take her to be cremated. The sun was setting and had lit her room and veranda with a blaze of golden light. We stopped halfway in the courtyard, all over the veranda and in her room, right up to where she lay dead and stiff, wrapped in the red shroud. Thousands of sparrows sat scattered on the floor. There was no chirruping. We felt sorry for the birds, and my mother fetched some bread for them. She broke it into little crumbs the way my grandmother used to, and threw it to them. The sparrows took no notice of the bread, and when we carried my grandmother's corpse off, they flew away quietly. Next morning, the sweepers swept the breadcrumbs into the dustbin. So the sparrows obviously understood that the one person with whom they were so attached is no more. They were not chirruping. Please notice this, that there was no chirruping. Okay, the chirruping used to be there when grandmother used to feed them. They used to perch and sit on her shoulders, and continuous chirping used to be there. But now everything is silent. Well, I hope the chapter is clear. A quick recapitulation of a few important things. This, I believe, I have already told you that why did she sing of the homecoming of warriors? Okay, her grandson had come home and she had perhaps anticipated her imminent death, and it appears as if she was waiting for her grandson to return and to see him before she died. So these are the pictures of Khushwant Singh and his grandmother. And I hope you have understood the main three phases that the author has discussed in the chapter. The three phases of author's relationship with his grandmother. Phase one is spent in the village. The second one is spent in the city, and phase three is when author joined university and was given a separate room, and that is when the common link of friendship was snapped between the two. Now there are a few exercises which I would like you all to attempt. Do you think the title is appropriate? If yes, how? The three phases of author's relationship, if you write in your registers, it will be very convenient for you because it covers most of the chapter. Character sketch of grandmother is extremely important. You observe the grandmother's behavior, the way she speaks, the way she walks, the way she, behaves, all those things, her demeanor basically, and you will be able to write a character sketch in 100 to 120 words. And last but not the least, if you have known someone like the author's grandmother, do you also feel the same sense of loss with regard to someone whom you loved and lost? Please try and attempt this. And thank you so much for watching. I hope everything was clear.